Hello and welcome to the Golden Wheel Tavern. It's so good to see you all again, every last one of you. Honestly and truly, it's so good to see you all again. We're back. I know we had another little mini-sode. Who knows if those will be a regularly occurring thing.
Wait, there was another mini-sode?
Yep, there's a mini-sode coming out before this one.
Oh, wow.
This one's Darling Amongst the Dust, which is a post-apocalypse survival solo game.
Right, I now remember you mentioning that to me briefly.
Yep, and spoilers, if you haven't listened to that one, go ahead and skip to about 2 minutes. That should get you past any of the spoilers.
Spoilers, if you haven't listened to that one, stop listening to this one and go back and listen to the other one.
That one also, but skip ahead to the timestamp if you're really adamant, whatever, or just don't care about spoilers. My character was transformed into some horrifying beast with horns and hooves and night vision and fanged teeth, as the mutations from the radiation slowly transformed them into a horrid monster rather than a person trying to seek out survival.
I know at least me and one of our listeners would smash that character.
Yeah. So horrifying beast, which is kind of disappointing because I had uncovered the card that allows you to slowly and only if you're really lucky make your way to the good ending.
Horrifying beast, says the man describing a sexy monster.
For you and that other person,
and a lot of people in the world.
The adjective sexy there is redundant, okay?
Not all monsters are sexy. Unpopular opinion, hot take I'm coming in with here. Not all monsters are sexy.
Not gonna make that joke.
Hashtag not all monsters.
Oh, but fucking Avatar for Nintendo characters is too easy of a joke.
Yeah. It looked like that's what you were about to make, so I figured, oh, you're being a coward, I'll make the joke.
That was the joke I was gonna make. I'm like, no, that's too easy.
Because you just said not gonna make that joke, it sounded more like cowardice.
No.
Yeah.
It was more, that joke's obvious and it's overplayed.
Hashtag not all jokes.
Okay, cool. I'm glad this is where we are. I'm glad we are here in this place.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, sure I am.
I know you are.
Yep, totally. Yeah.
You have a drink again. I forgot.
Can you allow me to transition from one segment to the other?
Not smoothly.
Hey everyone, the bartender has a drink this time. Therefore, we're gonna kick it over to the bartender for the bartender's brew.
Hi guys, I have a drink this time. It's called Lesser Restoration. Why did we name it that? Well, you're gonna have to pay us $5 if you want to know. Because we discussed why I named it that earlier.
It is a callback, so...
Yeah. Is it?
Well, no. The inspiration for the drink is a callback.
Yes. The inspiration for the drink is a callback because I will tell you this. The Tavern Keep did tell me I was not allowed to name this one Drink from Poncheros.
Drink from Poncheros. If you listen to the... not last episode, which was the mini-sode, but the episode before it, where the bartender didn't have a drink and then said their drink was just from Poncheros. This drink is inspired by that drink. You want to give them the rundown?
Sure. So you're going to take some orange soda and set that off to the side because you don't actually want to shake that up because something will explode from the carbonation. And then in a thing in which you can shake up liquid, you shall put an ounce of ginger liqueur, an ounce of pomegranate liqueur, an ounce of orange liqueur, 2 ounces of gin, some rhubarb bitters, which I'm pretty sure I forgot to write down on the recipe.
You did.
Hell yeah. And then you'll shake that up with some ice to cool it down, pour it into a glass, and then top off with some orange soda of your choice. We used Doritos.
Mandarin Doritos.
Yes. Be really weird if we used the non-orange flavor of Doritos when I told them to top it off with an orange soda of their choice.
I don't know if there's just an orange Doritos. No. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I don't buy nor consume Doritos on a regular basis.
I'm glad you added on a regular basis to that.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I was going to be like, you drank one! I brought 4 home and you drank one!
Yeah, and you once bought a party pack. I've never bought Doritos for myself.
I know. The party packs don't count though, because you don't get repeat flavors in them. If they had a party pack that was just the mandarin orange, I'd be buying that.
That wouldn't be a party pack.
Yeah, it would.
It would just be like a 12-pack.
They don't sell... The only in bulk you can get is the party pack.
Yeah, but the reason it's a party pack is because it has the variety.
No, the reason it's a party pack is because you can invite people to the party and know you have enough Doritos for everyone. Don't shake your head at me. Don't shake your head and silently mouth the word no at me.
I'm not silently mouthing it. I was whispering it. I said no.
Then it would have had to be heard, so...
Just because something is unheard doesn't mean it wasn't said.
Yes, it does.
If a tree falls in a forest and no one's around to hear it, doesn't make a sound.
Maybe. No one was around to hear it, so we can't know.
Yeah, and no one was around to hear whether or not I said...
I was around, and you didn't say it.
I heard me say it, and therefore I said it.
Gotcha, you experienced hallucinations.
Bold coming from you.
Correct coming from me. Who better to tell you?
The energy in today's episode is something else. Woo! Listeners, it's 8:30 at night.
And I don't have to work tomorrow.
Yeah, and they drove for 5 hours today.
6.
They drove for 6 hours today. Anyways, all of that aside, the non-patrons, you probably just missed out on 10 minutes of conversation and also the bartender opening TikTok on their phone.
I wasn't opening TikTok, it just happened to be open when I unlocked my phone to look up the difference between an HDMI splitter and an HDMI switch.
So, if you want those extra 10 minutes, you can support us financially by going to patreon.com/thetavernkeepsguide. There, you can subscribe for $5 or more and get yourself the Patreon cut, which has all the side talk diatribes, cold intro, cold outro, extra quiz bowl questions, and that kind of stuff. Just tacked on there, you know? It's not a lot, and it gets you a decent amount of content. $5 is not a lot, and it gets you a decent amount of content. But if you want to support us non-financially, the best way you can do that is by telling people, by spreading the word. If you want to do that online, you can do that through our social medias, such as TikTok, Tumblr, Twitter, because I refuse to call it the other thing, Mastodon, Blue Sky. Follow us on there, share our posts, spread the word, because doing that is the most important thing. If you have people you know who listen to podcasts, who enjoy D&D, tell them about us directly. Really, that is the best way to get it out there. The bartender has done their part there.
Yes.
And I'm sure there are some people out there listening who are listening directly because of the bartender.
You could also employ my tried and true method of getting someone to listen to a podcast that you like, trap them in a car with you for hours on end and be like, hey, hope you don't mind, I'm gonna put this podcast on. Oops, sorry, you're into D&D now? Totally wasn't expecting that.
Anyways, spread the word, whether that's social media or by word of mouth. Really, word of mouth is the best, but anyway you can spread the word and share the podcast, that really helps us, because right now we are looking for growth. And that is the best way to help us. So, if you want to show your support, go about it that way. The Patreon cut can wait.
Or, always go the hostage route. Trap people in a car, force them to listen to it. They will fall in love.
I'm classifying that under word of mouth.
I'm classifying it under the hostage route.
Well, anyways, thank you so much for your support, all of you who do share and whatnot. And thank you for all of you who even just listen. It means a lot to us. Now, on to our Tales from the Tavern's tables. We had to fight a bunch of creatures in the Feywild. No, this is not the Saturday D&D group.
This is the Sunday Monster of the Week group.
You didn't let me continue the bit. I was gonna say, no, this is not the Monday, Tuesday, Friday
We're on
D&D
Friday group now. In case any of them ever pick this up, I am fighting for your reputation against this man. I know you won't ever listen to this podcast. It's not your thing. But I am fighting for your reputation against this man. It's a Friday group.
Okay, your Friday D&D group did not fight some creatures in the Feywild. The Monster of the Week group did not fight some monsters in the Feywild, but they went to the Feywild.
Yes.
So,
the monster they fought was the friends they made along the way.
No, they weren't friends with that guy. So our Monster of the Week group, last time we told you about them, they were trying to hunt down magic items from D&D that had been brought into the real world, and the group successfully tracked down one of the items, despite my dismay last time we talked about them at the fact that they just weren't going anywhere. We successfully tracked down one of the items. It was the Deck of Many Things, and we found the person who had it. They had a strange glow in their eyes. We burst into the house. We said, "Put them up, give us the Deck of Many Things, we're the FBI." And they said, "Are you really?" And we said, "Yes."
Nuh-uh. What they said was, "I'm not talking to the feds."
And we're like, "Too bad, we're the feds. You're gonna talk, see?" And then the guy with the glowing eyes said, "Nuh-uh." I say, "Nuh-uh." And he disappeared into the Feywild.
And one of the other guys said, "Can you get these two fuckers in trouble? If I tell you everything, will you fucking put these two in line?"
But when the guy said, "Nuh-uh, I'm out of here," Matthew Derringer, the one with magic abilities who cannot use magic for a week.
Hey, you're down to 6 days.
Okay, can't use magic for 6 days. Rushed after the guy who went through the portal. Our second best person at using magic also rushed after the guy into the portal. The other two stayed behind and interviewed the 2 people who stayed behind. Essentially, there were 4 people on each side, and 2 people from each side went into the portal.
Yeah, the 2 that stayed behind in the group were the 2 that were going to be the best at playing good cop, bad cop, which was totally unneeded because one of the NPCs was just like, "Listen, I am so fed up with the bullshit these other 3 have been putting me through. Mm-hmm. Here's everything." Mm-hmm. And the other NPC there was just like, "Listen, if you're the cops, I'm not saying a word."
Yep.
Which, listeners, by the way, if you ever find yourself in a situation like that, don't talk to the cops.
Don't talk to the cops without legal representation.
Yes. The NPC who decided to talk to the people he presumed were the feds was in the wrong. Not by way of doing something wrong, but by way of thinking that they should talk to the feds.
Don't tell the cops anything, tell the paramedics everything. Anyways, the other 2 were in the Feywild, and basically there was a big confrontation of, "Hey, you're hurting people." And the one who had the Deck of Many Things was like, "No, they're hurting themselves by using the Deck of Many Things." And then we were like, "But you're the one letting them use the Deck of Many Things." And he's like, "Yeah, but they're choosing to use the Deck of Many Things."
If I let someone choose to use my knife and they stab themselves, that's on them.
Yeah, basically. And there was this big discussion, and we convinced not the one with the Deck of Many Things necessarily, but his friend who was in there with him, that, hey, this guy has killed multiple people and he's bad because of it. Mm-hmm. And his friend was all like, "Yeah, that's fair." And I was like, "Yeah, you like to play Mr. Guy who's like, yeah, they ended up killing themselves via my Deck of Many Things, but it isn't my fault." I was like, "You like to play chaotic neutral, don't you?" Which you did a really good job of playing the NPCs there.
Thank you.
Because you made them have conflict within themselves. Like, obviously they had a certain amount of, like, loyalty to each other, but they had varying amounts of loyalty, and there was a conflict within the group, which made for really interesting NPC interaction, because you could be like, "Hey, I'm on your side here. I'm going to try to drive more of a wedge between you and that person while maintaining the loyalty between you and this person." Sort of driving a wedge between those who are like, "Hey, we shouldn't be using the Deck of Many Things if it's killing people," and those who are like, "I don't care if it kills people.
It's my Deck of Many Things.
It's my Deck of Many Things." So we were able to drive a wedge, and then because there was this separation in the group, we were able to get the guy who had the Deck of Many Things to be like, "Hey, you need to work with us so we can get the fuck out of here. Do you really want to fight whatever is in the Feywild? Are you prepared to fight 10 blink dogs? No? Let's get out of here." And then there was a whole thing, but that's for a later thing. The lesson to take away is that conflict within groups of NPCs can give players a way in and make for a really interesting way to have players play off of NPCs, playing off of NPCs, playing off of players. Speaking of interesting NPCs, this is a perfectly seamless segue into our Tavern Talking topic for today. Making interesting NPCs. Now, I don't know if we've all, like everybody who's listening, but at least you and I and a lot of the listeners have played in campaigns where occasionally there's an NPC and they just like show up and they're casually mentioned and nobody really cares about them.
Most NPCs in a game are going to fall into this category, and that is okay.
That is perfectly fine.
Because, let's be honest, it's gonna be a lot of work for you, the DM, if you try to make every single NPC perfectly memorable every time.
Yep. But sometimes there are NPCs that you want to make an impact. And if you want an NPC to make an impact, you can't just throw them out there without considering a few things, right? So, what we're going to talk about today are some tips and ideas to keep in mind when making an NPC to make them interesting. First and foremost, they have to be unique. Human shopkeep number 34 isn't going to intrigue the party, right? You have to make them unique and memorable in some way. If they're just Joshua Gildenhammer, the shopkeep smith of the town of Grolanthan, the party's just gonna be like, okay, I go to a shop and pick up a sword.
That's just a Josh G. Who cares about Josh G?
Exactly. Nobody cares about anybody named Josh with the last initial G.
Exactly.
But if you tell them they're visiting the shop of Doldwin Goldbend, a halfling smith who carries a stool with him at all times so he can reach high places.
Me too, buddy.
Exactly. The party's going to be at least a little more interested in that character. That character is going to be slightly more memorable.
Another way to make a memorable character is to name them after one of your player characters.
Or just after one of the players.
Yeah, because then they're going to be like, what? He can't have that name, that's my name! And then you get to explain to them how many Joshes you've met in your life.
Mm-hmm. At least 3. Our second tip for making an interesting NPC is give them an identifiable trait. For example, Dina, the half-orc farrier, isn't necessarily interesting. Mm-hmm. But if you make Dina the half-orc farrier who enjoys robots and drag, your party's gonna be like, where are they encountering robots and drag on a regular basis enough to have an interest in it?
Your party's gonna be like, hey, can we convince Dina to take us to the robot drag show? And you're gonna be like, why did I give her that trait?
Mm-hmm. But it's identifiable and interesting. So once again, it is about making this NPC stand out, but you have to be careful, because if you make your identifiable trait too much, your party's gonna just be like, oh, this is like a silly bit character, and they might just bounce off that character. You know, they won't be interested in that character. Sometimes the party can sniff out that you're trying too hard.
Maybe. Know your party.
Yeah. I'm not saying all the time, but I'm saying there are parties that will just bounce off a character that they're like, oh, this is a bit. This is a joke character.
For some parties, and this is counterintuitive to everything we're talking about this episode, but for some parties, the most interesting NPC you can throw at them is someone just named like Harold with no traits that you didn't intend for them to ever talk to, but they're gonna have a billion questions for him.
Oh, don't worry. We mention that later.
So question.
Yeah.
Is this just a bit where we're gaslighting the non-Patreon audience into thinking we're talking about something during the Patreon cut that we're not actually talking about?
I'm gonna move on to the next section. The energy of this episode is going to be hell to edit.
You're welcome.
Another way to make your characters connect more to an NPC is to give them a relatable trait. Something that you know the party agrees with or the characters agree with. This is a common thing to give to a villain NPC so that the party is immediately like, we hate this guy for everything they are. For example, Thrungondar, the gift tyrant of the Darklands, not that interesting. Just a BBEG. Thrungondar, the gift tyrant of the Darklands, who loves to poke fun at his cohorts and jab one of them for how he let the hottest babe in his life ever get away, you know, is a little more relatable.
Name that the tavern keep said.
Gondar.
Not even gonna attempt it. Who, him and his friends just have that one friend who everyone rags on. Relatable.
And therefore your party's likely to be a little more interested in the story and the tales and the backstory and the origin of Thungondar, the gift tyrant of the Darklands.
And the person at your table who happens to be that friend that everyone just rags on is going to be a lot more interested in whoever Gondar is making fun of.
Brindlesnap.
Going to be a lot more interested in Brindlesnap.
Brindlesnap the Autognome.
Does he look like Roly Poly Oly?
No, these ones actually don't. Brindlesnap does not look like a Roly Poly Oly character.
Another way to make your NPCs...
He does look like one of the robots from Robots, though.
Another way to make one of your NPCs really interesting is to make them an Autognome and tell everyone he looks like a Roly Poly Oly character.
That's just the canon look for Autognomes. I don't care what the book has for a depiction. Autognomes look like Roly Poly Oly characters.
And yet you told me Brindlesnap doesn't.
Yeah, that's because he's from my homebrew world.
Less interesting to me now.
He looks like one of the robots from Robots.
Which one?
The one that's like a pile of junk that,
Less interesting to me.
The one voiced by, I believe, Robin Williams.
That does not help.
The red one.
Again, not interesting to me. There was exactly one answer you could have given.
Fanny?
Yeah, Fanny! If you told me Brindlesnap, the Autognome, has a huge fucking ass, I'm gonna be like, interesting NPC!
Has a big dumpy?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Give them a motive. Give your NPCs a motive. So, Mintum Norbril, a gnome rogue, yeah, I don't know, he steals some gold from the party at some point and the party doesn't like him. Whatever. Mintum Norbril, a gnome rogue who aims to steal the gem of the royal seal. That's interesting.
I know that you probably mean like royal...
No, now that I said it, I mean what you're thinking.
Yes!
Now I mean it's a coastal kingdom and there's a pet that has a large shiny rock. It's always like bouncing on itself and juggling around. Yeah, as soon as I said it, that is what I meant.
Good, because that's way more interesting.
Yeah, he's aiming to steal the gem of the royal seal. Yeah, no, as soon as I said it out loud, I changed plans. So, yeah, because that gives a clear motive for this character. The party can be like, oh, I see why this NPC is doing what they're doing. And we can either get in their way or not get in their way.
But if he's stealing that gem from the royal seal, I think we're gonna help him.
The seal or Mintum?
Him.
Which one's him?
Him!
They're both he-hims!
Him! I might be he, but I'll never be him.
Capital H him? You're gonna help the Christian God?
I think we should do a quick recap.
Okay.
Before we get into what to do if everything else has failed.
So, make them unique, give them an identifiable trait, give them a relatable trait, give them a motive. So.
Or give them a huge ass, or give them the name that's the exact same as one of your players or player characters.
Identifiable trait, huge ass. Relatable trait, huge ass. Same name as me.
Motive, huge ass.
Character, huge ass.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you give your character a name like huge ass, your party's gonna be interested in them. Toaster Strudel.
Give your character the name Isaiah Krendelin Wiener. So his name's Icy Wiener.
Give the Warforged the name iCup.
Give them the nickname iCup, and then when their full name is like their serial number, and it starts with ICUP 2013469420.
I'm putting that Warforged in my little world building document now.
Oh, okay, sounds good.
iCup is gonna be a real NPC that you can meet if ever that world is played.
Okay, so yeah, make them unique. Make them identifiable, make them relatable, and give them a motive. You do that, and you have a fully fleshed out character that your party, if they are the type to get interested in NPCs, will attach to. Of course, sometimes parties just don't attach to characters, and if all else fails, engage the Meepo protocol. Send in the SLG, engage the Meepo protocol, as I call it. Silly little guys. Now, you have to be careful with this. You can't make them too silly, or the wrong kind of silly, or it might backfire. They just have to be a little guy who's trying their best, but doesn't quite understand how the world works. Don't make them obnoxious or obstructive to the party, but make them a friend.
This is also a great way if you have a character that's beloved to you, or if you want to create a character that's beloved to you, to get the DM to reconsider attacking your character. That's a story for another episode. But if you yourself as the player make a silly little guy to play, your DM will fall trapped to the same issue.
I am not that DM. If you make a silly little guy, you play Yerk will get attacked, probably more because he's a frontliner.
I'm just saying, you're gonna feel it on your conscience if he dies. It's gonna weigh you down as much as it weighs the party down.
Oh, okay. I'm glad the party is gonna be cackling maniacally alongside me when Yerk gets his healing spell counter.
My love, we both know that's not what I'm talking about, but my love, you know that you have told me it would be harder for you to kill Yerk than it would be to kill my current character.
That's because I don't like your current character. I'm kidding.
I know you're kidding. It's because Yerk's a silly little guy.
Yeah, but if he's a frontliner and he gets killed, he gets killed.
I get that. I'm just telling you guys, you can make your DM feel bad for killing your character if your character has engaged the SLG protocol.
Which, once again, you have to be careful with what kind of silly. You just want him a friend who's a little bit dumb. Maybe give him a silly voice. Maybe have him speak in broken English, which kind of seems a little problematic.
Not if he's like that one, it's like that idea for a goblin that goes around all the time that like in common they speak broken English, but if one of your characters can speak goblin, they're like actually really like, you know, smart and all that shit. They just never bothered to learn common.
Okay. Make them very erudite in their native tongue.
Yes.
Yeah. Because a lot of silly little guys speak in like broken English.
Just make him a Kenku and then you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. I would throw an idea out there, but it's my idea and it can only be used by people who know me. I have a copyright on it.
Is it the merchant?
Yes. Yes.
The merchant exists everywhere.
The merchant's such a good NPC.
He is.
Because you see, he is SLG, but also he has a very identifiable trait, and he's very unique, and he has a motive.
Yeah.
One final note. It is the interaction with the NPCs that really make or break a campaign. A party might find none of your NPCs interesting, or they might take interest in a random goblin named Fartbuckle and make them the party mascot. That is a reference, but I'm just using the name Fartbuckle as a stand-in for generic human number 34. And your party's like, okay, but what's their name? How many siblings do they have?
Have you ever walked out of a mall into a huge parking area and realized you'd forgotten where you parked your car?
Ever gone mountain biking?
What do you want to be when you grow up? What's the right tip?
Have you called a plumber to your home lately? How superstitious are you?
How much money would it take to make you spend a night in a cemetery? Would you display this as a trophy? Do you have a pet? Do you have a sweet tooth? Do you believe in the power of a curse?
Have you had your hearing tested lately?
Planning a trip soon? Can you remember the tallest man you've ever seen?
Do you love to go a-wandering beneath a clear blue sky?
Have you noticed what big stars real estate agents have become?
Are you careful with your personal records? Does your computer ever seem to have a mind of its own? Have you ever visited a Chinatown section in a major city?
Have you ever visited a flea market? Have you ever visited a truck stop? Did you ever have a job as a waiter?
Have you noticed how many successful restaurants are theme-based these days?
Have you ever had the desire to write your initials in wet cement?
You like to go wandering under a clear blue sky.
Just give your NPCs an easy to remember voice, their own motives, and let the players handle the rest. If you want to make it quick and easy, give them a voice, give them a motive, move on with your day. Speaking of moving on with our day, it's time for the quiz ball! And I'll hand you the stack this time.
Yeah, because last time you fucking rigged it somehow.
I pumped psionic energy into it.
Sure.
Okay.
What magic artifact, named after its owner, resembled a thatched hovel that moves and dances on bird-like legs?
That's Baby Lasagna's hut.
Yes. What?
I'm glad that you accepted that instead of Baba Lasagna.
Well, because it's Baba Yaga.
Is Baba Yaga?
Yes.
I thought it was Baba Lasagna.
No.
Wait, that's a different character? What the hell? Because, you have Baba Lazaga, which is the one I know.
So I guess you were actually wrong.
Yeah, I was wrong. Yeah, I just want to know the difference between her and Baba Lazaga.
Copyright?
What do you mean copyright?
I don't know. You asked what the difference was, so I made up one.
Okay, so essentially, she's a meta. Baba Lazaga is a meta reference to Baba Yaga because Baba Yaga is an actual folklore character that they have made a D&D version of. Baba Lazaga is essentially the copyright or the disconnected from the actual lore version of Baba Yaga. So I was wrong, but it's understandable that I mixed them up.
Can I continue?
Yep, go on.
What was the name of TSR's internal employee newsletter, which ran from 1980 to 1983?
Sorry, repeat that?
What was the name of TSR's internal employee newsletter, which ran from 1980 to 1983?
Dungeon Plus.
No.
Damn.
I can give you a hint.
Sure.
It is not the Chicken Coop Chronicles.
Damn. It's the hen house hay.
No.
Damn.
It's random events.
Random events. Like a random events table. Fuck you. Fuck you, TSR internal newsletter from 1980 to 1983.
We'll give you one that's a little bit easier because this one is connected to Magic the Gathering.
Baba Lazaga was connected to Magic the Gathering.
I know. In Ravnica,
Ravnica!
which is worth more? A Zib or a Xeno? I love it when you do that.
Which is worth more, a Sib or a Xeno?
Yes.
God damn. I forgot to read my Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica. I thought this would be like, in Ravnica, what's the name of the race of people with blue skin and 6 fingers? Not, which of their fucking currencies that both start with a Z? Fucking Xeno.
Correct.
Yeah!
100 copper Zibs is the equivalent of 1 gold Xeno.
Woo! Nailed it. I think like, back of my mind, only kind of knew that because I've looked at the book and it's like, yeah, if you're part of the Ravnica Guild, you get an allowance of so much Xeno.
Zip, zap, zop.
Zoop.
That's not how the game goes.
Ah, damn.
Here's an actually easy one for you.
Okay.
Which character class is a master of martial combat, skilled with a variety of weapons and armor?
Okay, the issue is that's 2 different classes, at least 3 different subclasses.
They're not asking about subclasses.
Yeah.
They're just asking about classes.
So obviously they mean fighter. I would argue that Paladin also fits into that description.
I would argue that Paladin has more to its class than just that.
Yeah.
And they're saying this class is only this.
Okay.
Anyways, I can't give out more questions for free. You have to pay me $5.
Well, you didn't tell me whether or not that was correct.
Fighter is correct.
Woo!
But I can't give out any more questions for free, so either you have to pay me $5 on behalf of all the listeners, or all the listeners have to pay me $5 for the question.
So do I have to give you $5 for every listener?
No.
Oh, okay.
But it can't be part of the money that I earned that you stole.
Oh, that's fine. I only have $4 here anyways.
Okay. Sorry, listeners. Tavern Keep ain't paying for this round.
Nope. I only have $2 there. Well, I tried, listeners. Sorry.
You gotta pay for your own rounds.
Yeah, pay for your own rounds. Speaking of which, you can do so by going to patreon.com/thetavernkeepsguide. $5 or more gets you the Patreon cup, which, as we said, contains cold outros, cold intros, cold diatribes, cold side talk, and cold extra questions.
It contains all the interesting parts of the podcast that we cut out for not people who don't pay us.
Speaking of people who don't pay us but want to support us anyways, or people who do pay us and still want to support us extra, you can do so by going to any of the social medias, links in the description, sharing posts, promoting posts, talking to people, really spreading the podcast is what we need most right now. And honestly, we appreciate every single one of you who listens, and we appreciate every single one of you who spreads the word. You know, go on to the YouTube and like and comment and boost in the algorithm. Do everything you can to help us grow, because that is what we need the most right now. And we appreciate every one of you. And as always, make sure to tip the barmaid.